when I was a child, to trick my childhood friend out of her New Year's money. I told her she was my future wife, that her money was also my money. Then I cleared out her small treasure trove. It wasn't until middle school, when my family moved away, that this childish engagement came to an end, but many years later, when I returned home after school, I found my room had been transformed into a pink princess room by my mother. The very next moment, my mother announced, "From now on this room belongs to Wanru." I was speechless, looking at my birth mother and said, "I'm definitely not your biological child." "Am I?" My mother took the menu from the butler, gave her instructions, then turned to me. "Oh, that's right. Jiang Shen. After school, please pick up Wanru on your way home." Suddenly assigned this task. I frowned, looked at my mother and asked, "Who is Wanru?" As a result, my mother looked even more confused than I was. "Don't you remember the little girl you traded 2 coins for to be your wife when you were young? Have you forgotten?" Having said that, my mother immediately took out her phone, opened a front-facing photo of Su Wanru and showed it to me. "Uncle's daughter has had poor health since childhood, used to follow you around calling you brother, you even held her hand and talked about marriage." I quickly searched through my mind, looking for connections between these pieces of information. Looking at the photo on my mother's phone, I suddenly remembered that earlier today, to deal with Teacher Lee, I had casually given directions to a little girl, so it was her. I thought she looked familiar at the time. In the afternoon, after school, at the gate of King High School, I held the thermos my mother had prepared. I lifted the thermos and looked at it. According to my mother, that girl was a princess, while I was just a stinky boy who didn't need any special care. I sighed. The phone beside the seat suddenly vibrated. I picked it up. It was my mother calling. "Hello? Jiang Shen, it's Wanru's first day of school. Take good care of her for me. Hurry down from the car. Go to the school gate and wait for her. She doesn't know what you look like yet. I've sent her your photo already, so she can recognize you easily." "I know, Mom." Hung up on. I looked up at Mir. Zhang in the driver's seat. "Here? Zhang." So I really was picked up from the riverside by my mother. "Look, Su Wanru even has the same surname as my mother." "Here?" Zhang looked in the rearview mirror with a forced but polite smile. "Young master, you are her biological son." I nodded, bewildered, but in our Jiang family, women are cherished the most, so previously at home, mother was the most important. Now it seems that in the future, Su Wanru will be the most important. Even though she's just staying temporarily, during her stay, Su Wanru will still be the most important. Since childhood I've grown up watching my father doting on his wife, so I don't dare disobey my mother even half a sentence. Mom told me to get out of the car and wait at the school gate, so I had to get out and wait. In class 8 of grade 12, as soon as the dismissal bell rang, students rushed out like monkeys leaving the mountain, each one racing out at lightning speed, but Su Wanru slowly packed up her things on the desk. She didn't like pushing through crowds. Dismissal time meant the gate would certainly be crowded, so she deliberately took her time, waiting for most people to leave before going out. Just then, her phone on the desk received a message. The phone displayed a message from Miss Su, along with a photo. It was Jiang Shen's photo. She said her boy was going to pick up her niece. She still had to stay home and cook, waiting for you to come home. Darling. Looking at the message, Su Wanru smiled until her eyes narrowed. Miss Su and her mother were close friends. Coincidentally, she and Miss Su shared the same surname. Since childhood, she had really liked Miss Su. When she was 10, due to her father's work, she had to move away from the house next to Miss Sus. After that, because of her health issues, she didn't visit again, but everyone still kept in touch by phone. She immediately replied, "I understand. Auntie Su, I want to see you too." I put away my phone, shouldered my backpack, and headed towards the school gate. At the school gate, I held the thermos and saw Su Wanru coming out from the school. She was walking very slowly, but when she reached the gate, she took out her phone, glanced at it once, and stopped. She pursed her lips, frowned, looking as if she was in a difficult situation. Mom clearly said she had already spoken with the girl. Could I be too ugly? Scared her. I considered myself quite handsome, so I took the initiative, holding the thermos and walking over. "This milk is from my mom for you." Suddenly a figure appeared in front of Su Wanru, along with thermos of hot milk. The young man's fingers were slender, with clear knuckles, neatly trimmed, clean nails. The girl couldn't help but blurt out, "How beautiful." Realizing what she had just said, Su Wanru, blushed bright red, quickly raised her head and discovered it was the classmate who had given her directions earlier today. Just as she was about to thank him for the directions earlier, I spoke first. "I'm Jiang Shen." Su Wanru was full of question marks. Seeing her confused expression, I raised an eyebrow. "What? Couldn't you recognize me from the photo?" Su Wanru hurriedly waved her hands. No, it's the photo." "What's wrong with the photo?" Seeing her unlock her phone, zoom in on the photo and hold it up in front of me, I finally understood why the girl had such a big reaction. In the photo, I was wearing a floral dress, wearing a wig my mother had chosen, strolling on the beach. That beach trip was the period I least wanted to remember. I was speechless, frozen. Let's go. Here? Zhang is still waiting for us. Suwonru hurriedly responded with yes. Yes, hugging the thermos of milk and following me. From the moment I approached her, we had attracted the gazes of many students. I was used to this atmosphere, but clearly Suwonru was not. The girl was a head shorter than me, somehow suddenly accelerated her pace, walking ahead of me, even showing signs of walking faster. Based on my experience as an older brother from childhood, I immediately grabbed the backpack strap on her back, pulling her back beside me. What are you running for? I'm not gonna eat you, suddenly having her backpack grabbed. Suwonru felt like someone had grabbed her collar from behind. A familiar feeling washed over her. When she was young, this Jiang brother also used to grab her collar and pull her home, saying it was to ensure safety, but every time her collar was grabbed, she would stagger. At that time, she always felt this neighbor brother was even scarier than her illness. People hold hands. Don't they? Why always grab the collar? Later on, Brother Jiang learned to hold her hand when playing in the flower garden, but then she moved away. Arriving at the Jiang family's parked car, I naturally stepped past Suwonru, opened the car door, my hand very politely placed under the door frame, preventing her from hitting her head. She got in, then I climbed in and closed the door. Only after the Maybach discreetly drove away did the students who witnessed this scene begin to whisper, "Who's ever seen Shenji take care of a girl like this at school?" Last time, when school beauty Xiaoxiao gave Jiang Shen chocolates, he threw them in the trash without even looking, not to mention opening car doors or protecting girls' heads. That's right. That's right. Last time when Xiaoxiao got her clothes dirty and came to borrow a shirt from Jiang Shen, he refused. What did Jiang Shen say back then? Don't you have money to buy clothes? Go ask for poverty assistance at the principal's office. Inside the car, it was dead silent. Perhaps my eyes looked too resentful. Suwonru, who was drinking milk, paused, turned to look at me. After hesitating for 2 or 3 seconds, I uncertainly asked, "Do you want some too?" "Thanks, but no need. I've never competed with children for milk, but my friend said you hadn't eaten lunch and went home because of a stomachache." I thought to myself, who spread rumors about me, am as healthy as an elephant? Well, okay. At the same time, my phone received a message. "Jiang Shen, you said you had a stomachache this afternoon and went home. You haven't forgotten, have you?" I had completely forgotten. This Zhen. Well played. I'll deal with you tomorrow at school. Suwonru suddenly felt guilt rising within her. Then why don't you drink this milk? It's still hot. Good for your stomach. Seeing the concern and guilt on the girl's face, I stubbornly took the thermos, reluctantly took a sip. Okay. Thank you. I don't like drinking milk. That's been my bad habit since childhood. Fortunately, usually no one forces me to drink this stuff, except Suwonru. Back then, if you didn't drink it, I would cry. At that time, I was most afraid of seeing you cry in front of me, because afterward, there might be a joint punishment from both sets of parents. It had been more than 10 years since I drank milk. It was completely a conditioned reflex. Young master doesn't like milk. Here? Zhang, who was driving, hadn't finished his sentence when I, in the back seat, like a warrior cutting off his hand, drank it all in one gulp. Seeing this, here? Zhang broke into a sweat. I hope the young master doesn't throw up in the car. Car washing is expensive. At this moment, in front of the Jiang family house, my mother and father had been waiting early. Even the Jiang family's housekeeper was standing at the door. The scene couldn't be described as anything but grand. It looked like some leader was visiting. Seeing this, I silently complained furiously. Don't ask. Asking means I've never been welcomed so grandly before. Suwonru held her small school bag, obediently got out of the car, walked up to my parents, and gently greeted them. Auntie Su. Uncle Jiang. Hello. Seeing Suwonru get out of the car, my mother enthusiastically pulled her into the house. Wonru. You're here. This afternoon I was busy cooking, so I couldn't pick you up. Your mother said you like wood ear fungus. I made lots of dishes for you. I also prepared a bed for you, in the first room on the second floor. Spacious and bright. The room is arranged just like your old room. You'll definitely like it. Before your parents come to pick you up, make yourself at home here. My mother rambled on, affectionately holding Suwonru's hand, as if she were her own daughter, leaving the two men standing there, silently following behind. At the dining table, Suwonru looked at the mountain of food in front of her and couldn't help but laugh awkwardly. She had already eaten a lot, but seeing my mother's hand about to serve her more food, I stood up abruptly, pulled her upstairs, leaving only one sentence. Mom, we're done eating. Going upstairs, I led Suwonru to the door, skillfully pushed it open. From now on, this is your room. If you need anything, just tell me. Tomorrow morning I'll come wake you up. Suwonru nodded. My mother has prepared clothes for you in the closet. School uniforms are there too. Suwonru nodded again. Do you want to say something? I only saw Suwonru staring at the toe of my shoe, finding it difficult to speak. Brother, in the future please don't be like when we were small, grabbing my collar anymore. It makes me look like a puppy. I was stunned. Suwonru has grown up. Grabbing her collar is indeed inappropriate. Then from now on, you can hold onto my sleeve. Okay. I probed. Suwonru nodded. Good night. Jiang Shen, after wishing each other good night, having been called brother, I walked back to the study with a light-hearted feeling. That night, Su Wanru slept very well. At 7 in the morning, she sat up, rubbed her sleepy eyes, intending to pull back the covers to get out of bed and wash her face. But the normally warm, quiet room was suddenly filled with ribbit-ribbit sounds. Ribbit-ribbit. Su Wanru was startled. Her drowsiness vanished instantly. Her heart pounded as she looked toward the source of the sound. She saw by the window a green frog-shaped alarm clock hiding. She got out of bed, walking barefoot on the soft carpet, slowly approaching it. What is this? The girl frowned, reaching out to press the green frog clock. The clock stopped for only a few seconds, then rang even louder. She didn't care anymore. Hugging the clock, she ran straight to my study. Jiang Shen. Jiang Shen, open the door quickly. The girl in pajamas, barefoot, anxiously jumping in front of the study door. I was sleeping soundly, turning over in bed, heard Su Wanru's voice. Sat up, got out of bed, and opened the door in one motion. Then I saw a little girl, with nimble hands and feet, stuffing something into my arms. I looked down. Oh my goodness, I was so annoyed my teeth itched. Qizhen, your crimes just got heavier. In front of Su Wanru, I resignedly held up the alarm clock, aimed it at my face. Face recognition. That's right, this thing needs my face recognition to turn off. If someone else holds it, it immediately rings louder until the person who said it unlocks it. After turning off that strange clock, the two of us stood facing each other in silence for a long time. The silence was the awkwardness of this morning. After finishing breakfast, I led Su Wanru to Zhang's car. The space inside the car was very large. Su Wanru lowered her head to count the books she needed, while I examined my bag, which my mother had stuffed full of snacks. My mother's words were like this: Wanru might get hungry, but these are too heavy, so mom put them in your bag. Zhang stopped the car not far from the school gate. We've reached the school. Young master, you two can go to school now. I was famous at King, frequently arriving at school by car. When Zhang drove in, many students were already standing at the gate wanting to watch the spectacle. Because today at the school gate there wasn't just me, but also Xiaxia. Xiaxia was the current beauty queen of Qin. Calling her my obsessed fan wouldn't be an exaggeration. Her family background was good. Even her family had business dealings with mine. Besides Xiaxia were several of her close friends. Everyone tacitly understood that in the future Xiaxia would be my future wife. So while our feelings were still budding, they had to take the opportunity to curry favor. Otherwise there'd be no chance later. Look, it's Xiaxia. The students watching stirred with discussion. Did she come because of the photo on the forum yesterday? Is that even a question? Definitely. In the past, whenever someone confessed to Shenji, Xiaxia was always the first to appear. That's right, just like a ninja, always silently following Jiang Shen. Let's stop talking. Jiang Shen is about to get out of the car. When the car door opened, my hand held the edge of the door. Su Wanru sat in the seat, trying to put her backpack on her shoulder, but it was snatched by me standing outside the car. Oh my god. There's someone else in the car. What's going on? Beside the car, I narrowed my eyes looking at the sun hanging in the east, then looked at Su Wanru, quietly shifting a little to the left, shading her from the sun, afraid she couldn't open her eyes and might fall. I couldn't help but silently admire myself. I really am a dedicated brother. Then, I extended my hand into the car, intending to provide support for Su Wanru to get out. Su Wanru didn't refuse either, because the car was indeed quite high. She was still afraid of falling, so Su Wanru placed her hand in my palm. The warm fingertips lightly brushed across my palm, causing me to involuntarily close my hand, grasping hers. At this moment, the whispers of the surrounding students reached their peak. Xiaxiao crossed her arms, her nails digging deep in her flesh. They only saw me leading a petite girl out of the car, with long hair cascading over her shoulders, eyes like a clear stream, skin wetter than snow. Is that the girl from the photo yesterday? I think so. This girl has a really special aura. The small rumor is, the girl's name is Su Wanru, in the same class as Jiang Shen. Moreover, she's currently Jiang Shen's desk mate. Don't talk so loudly. Xiaxiao is standing right there. She doesn't look too happy. The gossiping students, being reminded, turned to look at Xiaxia. Her expression was indeed not good. A group hurriedly left the scene. But there was still a brave group continuing to watch. Zhang's car was more than 10 meters from the school gate. I pulled Su Wanru out of the car, waited for her to stand steady before letting go of the hand I was lightly holding. Qizhen, standing at the school gate, found it strange and called out, "Yo, our Jiangshen knows how to take care of girls now." He smiled, acting like a close friend. Approaching, but his hand had barely come within an inch of my right shoulder. When I pushed it away, with a look sharp as a knife, Qizhen froze, blinking, his other hand frantically pulling Ji Yang behind. I looked at Qizhen with an expressionless face, my thin lips spitting out one word: "Get lost." All right then. Xiaxiao stood at the school gate, staring at Su Wanru. Last night she had asked her brother to investigate Su Wanru's background and details, but after all, He wasn't a miracle worker. How could he find out in just a few hours? Currently, she only knew 2 pieces of information about her opponent. Her name was Su Wanru and she seemed close to me, although Xiaxiao didn't want to admit it. But this was indeed the first time I had treated a girl this way. Xiaxiao had persistently followed me for so many years, had threatened and pushed away countless girls with similar intent. I had never let her touch even a corner of my clothes. But today, I had voluntarily held a girl's hand. Could Xiaxiao not be angry? Watching my figure gradually approaching, Xiaxiao hid the unwillingness and anger on her face, put on a smile again, stretched out her hand to greet me. A Shen. Good morning. I acted as if I hadn't heard, continuing to walk. But this action caught Su Wanru's attention. She slowed down, tugging at my sleeve. Brother, she's greeting you. I turned my head, pulling Su Wanru's sleeve in return. Ignore her. I don't know her. But she greeted you. Xiaxiao lowered her outstretched hand hanging in midair, the two of us getting further away from her, but she clearly heard what I said. I said I don't know her. Xiaxiao lowered her eyes. How could we not know each other? We're clearly the couple everyone expects. Thinking of this, Xiaxiao raised her eyes again, staring at Su Wanru's back. Anger unconcealed and exposed, I carried 2 bags in one hand and led Su Wanru to the classroom door with the other. Class 8. Which was usually noisy. Upon seeing my figure, as if enchanted by a passing god, the automatic silence mode was forcefully activated. Su Wanru had just entered the classroom when she saw a group of people fighting fiercely, her eyes twitching continuously. She was a bit nervous, grabbing my sleeve, then raising her head to look at the bright couplets at the classroom door. Cold window bitter reading, alone at the top. Very special. Indeed the right classroom from yesterday. Why were the students normal yesterday? But today they're like they have brain disease. What's wrong with them? Let's go. Wanru. She looked at me, then at the strange classmates in the room, nodded, thinking perhaps it was an illusion. Go into our seats should be fine. 4th row, near the window, the king's hometown. Su Wanru went to her seat first. Reaching out to take the bag I handed over, I naturally sat down beside her. I pretended not to see Qizhen who had just entered. When he ran over with a smile, I casually stretched out my left foot. Qizhen had just called out Jiang Shen when he tripped, stumbling forward. As for Jiang, who was leisurely walking to his seat from the back door of the classroom, before he could reach his destination, he was hit by a strange object. He panicked and tried to push it away, resulting in fully embracing Qizhen's neck. The surrounding students reacted in time. Qizhen had already intimately pressed against Ji Yang. Surrounding students watched eagerly. Ji Yang, hit by Qizhen, felt like he had internal injuries, while Qizhen, pressing on top of Ji Yang, gritted his teeth, rubbing his chin, supporting himself to slowly crawl up, looking aggrieved at me sitting comfortably on the other side. Jiang Shen, what did I do wrong? His tone full of resentment, beating around the bush, as if abandoned. Alarm clock. I almost ground out these words through gritted teeth. Su Wanru beside me looked at me, then at Qizhen rubbing his chin on the other side. Suddenly understanding, that alarm clock was yours. It's over. Seems because of that cute alarm clock. Jiang Shen lost face in front of his little sister. His guilty must be punished. So, Qizhen silently pulled Ji Yang back to their seats, hands placed neatly on the desk, sitting properly and formal. The gossiping students wondered, what alarm clock? How does Su Wanru know about it too? Could it be they're already living together? The students, very tacitly returned to their seats, took out their phones, typing so quickly their fingers left blurry shadows. On the King's School forum, a shocking post. I just overheard some juicy gossip. Jiang Shen and Su Wanru are living together. Oh my god, is it true or fake? True! I'm in class 8. Heard it with my own ears. This morning they shared an alarm clock. Spread the news. The school's handsome guy is married. What? The handsome guy has a child already. What? The child's name is already decided. Rumors spread thanks to the miraculous power of human language. By the time it reached Xiaxiao, it had become Jiang Shen has a child. It's Su Wanru's child. Xiaxiao frowned, confused and speechless, looking at her close friend. And Roxy. Listen, does this make any sense? And Roxy also thought it didn't make sense. But this was news others had told her. She said although it didn't make sense, it was news about Jiang Shen. So whether true or false, it had to be reported to Xiaxiao. Xiaxiao was speechless. Trusting others isn't as good as finding out yourself. She angrily took out her phone, opened the file Xiajanan had sent her. Su Wanru, 18 years old, from the south. Xiaxiao repeatedly opened and closed the file. But looking again and again, there were still only these few words. With the current situation, either the Jiang family was blocking information, or Su Wanru's background wasn't ordinary to begin with. But regardless of which case, it wasn't something the Xia family could interfere with. Xiaxiao let out a small huff, threw her phone on the table. From childhood to adulthood, she had never failed to get what she wanted. If Xia Janan wouldn't help, then she, Xiaxiao, would do it herself. I am the top student of grade 12 at King, so teachers have never been strict with me. I attend every class, I listen in every class, But during teacherless class, I put my head down on the desk. Math textbooks are already dry. Even Su Wonru was getting sleepy, let alone me, who was forced to sleep in the study room yesterday, in an unfamiliar bed. This morning I was having a nice dream when I was woken up by Kijin's damn frog clock. That's right. It was Su Wonru who woke me up. It was Kijin during teacherless sleep-inducing class. I slept soundly while Su Wonru sat next to me, that spot near the window, with light shining in. The classroom air conditioning was on. Sunlight was shining on her spot, making her even more sleepy, so she tried hard to keep her eyes open. Couldn't stand it anymore, but then used her other hand to pinch herself. When Su Wonru pinched herself for the 7th time, she saw me with my head down on the desk. Su Wonru thought we shouldn't sleep during class, so she reached out to poke the arm I was resting my head on. Kijin and Ji Yang in the row behind, who had been yawning sleepily, saw this scene and woke up completely. Oh my goodness, our class has a brave warrior. Everyone in class 8 of grade 12 knows Jiang Shen has a bad temper, especially when woken up while sleeping. Kijin and Ji Yang at the desk behind, with a spirit of caring for fellow students, decide to step up and stop Su Wonru. Our big brother probably won't hit a girl. Right? So Kijin extended his hand, trembling, intending to tap Su Wonru's shoulder. But before his hand could touch the little girl, his wrist was seized by a strong force. Kijin's face contorted. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's broken. It's broken. Jiang Shen, are you trying to break my arm? As a result, I threw him another knife-sharp glare. Kijin felt wronged. Since morning I hadn't paid attention to him, even if it was about the alarm clock. I should have gotten over it by now. Now I was glaring at him again. Who do you want to touch? My face darkened, exuding a sharp aura, staring at Kijin. Very good. I was sleeping soundly at my desk, yet someone dared to touch my little girl. Kijin realized something wasn't right, but his brain cells weren't enough to understand everything in a short time, so he prowled, hitting on Su Wonru, but before finishing his sentence, he was gagged by Ji Yang. Ji Yang frantically blinked at Kijin. You've never been so reckless before. What? Do you have a death wish? Dare to mention Su Wonru. Kijin slowly realized, finally understanding where the problem lay. This beautiful girl cannot be messed with. The commotion at the back of the classroom. Teacher Lee had long noticed, but was too lazy to manage. Our 3 seats had been moved to the corner, not affecting other students. But now there was a new student. Jiang Shen, what are you all doing back there? Teacher Lee's voice echoed throughout the classroom, full of teacher authority. Students in the front rows turned their heads to look. It seems Jiang Shen just woke up. Then they turned back, thinking to themselves that Teacher Lee was indeed brave. Daring to speak like that just as Jiang Shen woke up. Teacher Lee's voice didn't startle me, but it frightened Su Wonru. She didn't want her first day at school to end with being called to the office. So under the curious gazes of the whole class, she pulled my sleeve, gently tugging, looking at me. Brother, let's study. I immediately released Kijin's hand, looking at Su Wonru with a complex expression. Why had I noticed before that the words brother could sound so pleasant? The little girl called so softly, sweetly. Why did I like it so much? So I obediently turned around, looking up at Teacher Lai on the podium, signaling that we should continue studying. After finishing the math class, Su Wonru felt her eyes were dry, tired and sleepy, dreamily looking at the empty seat beside her. Boys really do have a lot of energy. Su Wonru showed her admiration. When I entered the classroom with a bottle of hot milk, I immediately saw Su Wonru rubbing her eyes, looking like a little rabbit washing its face, 2 hands rubbing rhythmically. Cute is indeed cute, but I still walked over, stopped her hands as she was about to rub her eyes again, seen her eyes red from rubbing. I frowned. Your hands are dirty. Don't touch your eyes. But I'm so sleepy. Su Wonru's yawn came at just the right moment. She really was very sleepy. I recognized that. Can you open your eyes while talking to me? I looked at the bottle of hot milk in my hand, thought for a moment. Then before Su Wonru could react, the hot milk bottle was pressed against her cheek. She bewilderedly took the bottle down, holding it in her hand. During the movement, her long sleeve covering her hand slipped down, revealing the red mark she had pinched on herself during class. Seeing this, I immediately pulled Su Wonru's hand. Frowning tightly, the little girl hadn't left the classroom. Kijin and Ji Yang hadn't dared to touch her either, so the red marks on the little girl's hand could only be from her pinching herself. I felt a bit sad. I had promised to be a good protective brother to her, yet I still let Su Wonru hurt her hand. I frowned looking at the back of her hand, unconsciously bending down, gently blowing on it. Does it hurt? Su Wonru was confused by the blowing. Yes, it hurts. After a whole morning of long classes. After morning classes, it was lunchtime. After lunch, I was called to the office by Teacher Lai. The national math competition was about to begin. As a key force of kin, I couldn't be absent. Watching my back as I left, Kijin behind couldn't contain his curious soul. Sneaking up to Su Wonru, hey little sister, what's your relationship with our Shen? Su Wonru was arranging her jacket, full of question marks. I don't think there's any special relationship. Aren't you his sister? Why do you sound so uncertain? This is exclusive information. Ji Yang thought for a moment. Are you blood related? Jiang Shen's family only has him as an only child. Definitely not a direct blood relationship. But what if she's the child of a distant cousin 18 generations removed? Even that distant. Still relatives. Su Wonru shook her head quickly. No. I call brother Jiang Shen because he's older than me. We were neighbors when we were young, but haven't seen each other for a long time. Ji Yang received the answer, rubbing his chin. A sister with no blood relation. He and Ki Zhen exchanged ambiguous glances. Smiling meaningfully, Su Wanru looked at Ki Zhen and Ji Yang's strange expressions. In silence, at this moment on the school forum, is Su Wanru Shenji's biological sister or emotional sister? I know. This afternoon I heard Su Wanru say she's a sister, not a biological sister, but not quite an emotional sister either. A sister, perhaps that's it, but they can be shipped. I'll ship them first. Xiaoxiao closed the forum interface. Xiaoxiao's fingers tightened, and Roxy noticed Xiaoxiao was unhappy, could only move closer to comfort her. Xiao, don't be angry anymore. You know, people just like to watch drama. Wait until Jiang Shen stops paying attention to Su Wanru. They'll understand on their own. You're the one who's always by Jiang Shen's side, and Roxy spoke without confidence herself, her voice gradually getting smaller. Xiaoxiao thought her friend's words made sense. She wouldn't allow Su Wanru to have feelings for Jiang Shen, and Roxy looked at Xiaoxiao, a smile appearing on her face. Knowing she was about to cause trouble again, and Roxy lowered her eyes. Catching her eye was a message Xia Jianan had just sent to her phone. My sister is at school. Please keep an eye on her. Tell her absolutely not to make Jiang Shen unhappy. As for Su Wanru, tell her not to cause trouble. It won't end well. Brother Jinan, Saya says later shall go to class 8 to warn Su Wanru, telling her not to get close to Jiang Shen. Su Wanru, I'm coming right away. Reading this, and Ruoxi put down her phone. The current business dealings of the Xia family. Contracts were all decided by Xia Jianan. Maintaining good relations with Xia Jianan would directly benefit her family's business, so Ruoxi gently said, Saya, drink some water first. There's still time to go later. Xia Jianan was truly grinding his teeth in anger at his sister. Why doesn't she have any sense? Xia Jianan paced irritably in his office. He had just confirmed with his secretary that this afternoon there was a very important matter that couldn't be rescheduled, but Xiaoxiao on the other side couldn't be ignored either. King High School wasn't close to the Xi family company. Driving would take half an hour. Moreover, it was lunchtime, when people go out to eat. In the city center, traffic jams were not uncommon. He walked quickly, picking up the phone on his desk. Brother Jinan, have you arrived yet? I can't hold back Xiao much longer. Xia Jinan nearly ground his teeth to powder, irritably shouting outside. Secretary Zhang, prepare the car. Xia Jinan drove towards King High School, the speed monitoring system in the car continuously alarming. You have exceeded the speed limit. Xia Jinan had no time to care. Now he worried that Xiaoxiao would be careless, would provoke Su Wanru, the person with unclear background from the Jiang family. Once unhappy, it would be over immediately. Almost there, when father handed over the entire group for him to manage, at this crucial moment, there absolutely couldn't be any mistake, so he stepped harder on the accelerator. On the other side, Xiaoxiao, under Ruox's instigation, decided to go to Su Wanru's face right now to assert her authority. When Xiao decided to go to class 8, it was just at the end of the lunch break. I was still being kept in the office by Teacher Li to do exercises. When Xiaoxiao entered class 8, everyone was still drowsy, including Su Wanru. For the first time, she had dozed off on the desk, even with her jacket as a pillow. She still raised her hand to rub her neck, feeling a bit sore. Su Wanru. A strange female voice sounded in front of Su Wanru. She looked up. Xiaoxiao was standing with her arms crossed. Looking down at her, Su Wanru recognized her. This was the girl who stood at the school gate this morning, greeting Jiang Shen. It couldn't be that she, because Jiang Shen didn't respond this morning, came to find her to cause trouble, and just when Jiang Shen wasn't here, wanted to find her to make a scene. Su Wanru felt the expression on the girl's face was very unpleasant. Must apologize. Definitely must apologize. Currently, she was temporarily staying at Jiang Shen's home. The incident this morning was also partly her responsibility for not holding Jiang Shen back to greet her, so Su Wanru sincerely stood up. I'm sorry. Xiaoxiao's face full of aggression, head full of question marks. I apologize on behalf of brother Jiang Shen for not responding to you this morning. He didn't mean it. He said he doesn't know you. Oh my! That's rich. The gossiping students around all let out exclamations of surprise. Could Jiang Shen not know Xiaoxiao? He just doesn't want to pay attention to her. Xiaoxiao felt this apology was like mocking her. She immediately felt her fist tighten. Su Wanru. Well done. You dare to mock me. The incident this morning, you deliberately prevented Jiang Shen from greeting me. Didn't you? I warn you. Su Wanru. Don't always go around with Jiang Shen in the future, otherwise you won't want to know the consequences. Su Wanru felt so wronged. How can I and brother Jiang Shen not go together? I'm sorry, but I really can't do that. Are you showing off to me? Su Wanru hurriedly waved her hands. No, I'm just stating the truth. Xiaoxiao felt choked with anger. What's wrong with this person? Every sentence makes me want to explode. I didn't expect Su Wanru to be so strong. I thought she was just a white bunny who knew she could hold her own against Xiaoxiao without falling behind. No, why do I feel like these two are not on the same topic? I feel the same way. Xiaoxiao became increasingly angry. Qi Zhen saw the situation wasn't good, assigned the task of protecting Su Wanru to Ji Yan. while he sneaked out of the classroom through the back door, sprinting at 50-meter dash speed, rushing straight to Teacher Li's office. Jiang Shen. Jiang Shen. It's bad. It's bad. Sister Suwanru is being bullied. Hearing Suwanru's name, my eyes narrowed. Which bastard dares to bully my sister while I'm not around? So I threw down my pen, immediately ran back to the classroom. Let's see if I don't tear that bastard apart. Really bold, Xiaoxiao felt she was about to be driven crazy by Suwanru. This person is doing it on purpose, right? Face innocent and blameless, but every word she says stabs into my heart. Xiaoxiao was so angry her face turned red. She couldn't breathe properly, and Roxy stood beside watching. Now Xiaoxiao had no mind to pay attention to her, so she had even more reason to tattle to Saya Jane. It's bad. It's bad. Saya has confronted Suwanru. She doesn't look happy. Brother Jinan, have you arrived yet? Sia Jinan of course hadn't answered. He was still stepping on the gas at full speed rushing to school. Sayao! Forget it. I think Suwanru isn't intentionally showing off in front of you. Maybe she doesn't know that you and Shenji have known each other for a long time, and Roxy gently held Xiaoxiao's hand. Outwardly persuading, but actually adding fuel to the fire, Xiaoxiao heard in Roxy's words and became even angrier. Suwanru opposite completely did understand what was wrong with this girl. Just because of not greeting her this morning, this matter wasn't that big, but this girl seemed like she was provoked. Looking at her with unfriendly eyes, Suwanru felt wronged. She just wanted to explain clearly, but it seemed the more she said, the more wrong it became. Xiaoxiao stood in front of her, with an imposing aura, as if wanting to devour her. The surrounding students continued to watch eagerly. No one dared to interfere in this tense situation. Why is she so angry? It's not my fault either. Hey! Xiaoxiao, don't go too far. The classmates who had been watching couldn't stand it anymore. Suwanru is a new student in Class 8. How can we let students from other classes bully her? That's right. That's right. Xiaoxiao. After all, the matter between you and Shenji, what does it have to do with Suwanru? Suwanru is our Class 8 classmate. You're from Class 5. What gives you the right to lecture her? Is it because you've done so many bad things over the years, so you think being near Shenji makes you invincible? Xiaoxiao was driven to fury by the whole class talking about her. She glared at Suwanru even more angrily, seeing an open water cup on the desk. Without thinking, she grabbed it, intending to throw it at Suwanru. When I ran to the classroom, this was the scene I witnessed. Suwanru frightened, shrinking into the corner of her desk. I didn't have time to think. Using almost all my strength, I rushed in front of Suwanru. The cup of water in Xiaoxiao's hand was knocked to the ground by me. With my other hand, I grabbed Suwanru's waist, pulling her whole body into my arms. No matter how fast my reaction was, some hot water still splashed onto my arm. My originally fair skin immediately swelled red. I gritted my teeth against the pain. Jiang Shen, are you okay? Suwanru asked worriedly. The sudden incident made her flustered. She quickly pulled my arm that had shielded her. She had never experienced something like this before. From childhood to adulthood, all the people she interacted with treated her well. Having hot water thrown at her was something she had never experienced. Suwanru's eyes gradually reddened. Brimming with tears, tears rolled down her cheeks, falling onto my hand, soaking my clothes, even dripping to the ground. Don't cry. For heaven's sake, not in pain. I took tissues offered by classmates, wiping Suwanru's tears. I have thick skin. I don't feel anything. Don't cry anymore. Who would admit their skin is thick? Suwanru burst into laughter through her tears at my joke. Seeing her like this, I sighed in relief, pulling her behind me, looking at Xiaoxiao with an expressionless face. I didn't mean to. Jiang Shen, it was her. She deliberately provoked me. I really didn't mean to. Xiaoxiao looked at my gloomy expression, as if about to melt into water. Panicking, you must believe me. Jiang Shen, I felt like it heard something funny, curling my lip. Xiaoxiao. Right, may I ask, do Xia and I have some deep friendship? Because I can't remember any. My tone was polite. The more Xiaoxiao listened, the more panicked she became. Her hands trembled, her words stuttered. No, since we have no friendship, why does this? See, I think I would take her side. Jiang Shen, Xiaoxiao looked at me full of hope, hoping I would let this matter go just once. She was now truly feeling afraid. Suwanru is currently under my protection, so what gives Ms. Xia the right to point fingers at her? Is it because you're Ms. Saya, the precious daughter of the Xia group? The mockery in my eyes didn't diminish at all. Your father still has to flatter me 3 parts? Do you think in your father's eyes, you're more important than the group's interests? Although I'm currently only a high school student, but outside of school hours, I also joined my father, handling many company decisions. My gaze is sharp, my vision unique, my investments rarely fail. The Xia father and son seeing me indeed have to flatter me somewhat, not only because I'm the crown prince of the Jiang family, but also because of the abilities I've demonstrated. Although Xiaoxiao is the only daughter of the Xia family, the person who will truly hold power in the Xia family in the future is her brother, Saya Jinan, and her father and brother are pure businessmen. Businessmen value profits. If because of your trouble at school, it affects the cooperation between the Saya family and the Jiang family, I'm afraid you won't escape responsibility either. Su Wanru. I apologize to you. I didn't mean it. Xiaxiao suddenly turned to Su Wanru, extending both hands intending to grab her, but I slapped her hands away with a book. My other hand I placed on Su Wanru's head, gently stroking. To comfort her, Su Wanru obediently didn't say anything. Although not worldly, she could guess this Sai friend didn't just find her because of this morning's incident. What's wrong? Saya, weren't you quite tough just now? I looked and thought I was a servant living under M's. Saya's hand. The students watching the drama round couldn't help but laugh. Xiaxiao silently complained frantically. How would I dare? Now she regretted to death. She shouldn't have come to class 8 to provoke Su Wanru. Young Master Jiang, has my sister been bothering you? At this moment, Xia Jianan finally arrived at the door of class 8. The suit he wore was a bit disheveled. He was panting. I gave him a cold glance. The eldest son of the Xia family. So what? Here? Xia came here to demand justice for your sister. Xia Jianan forced a smile. It's my sister's fault. Sayao, since childhood she's been a bit impulsive. Impulsive? Ever thought about going to the hospital for a checkup to see if there's something wrong with her brain? Paffed. The surrounding students couldn't help but laugh. Oh my goodness, is this how rich people talk? Xia Jianan hurriedly walked to Xiaxiao's side, pulling his sister's arm in a serious tone. Sayao quickly apologized to young Master Jiang. No need for Ms. Xia apologized. We wouldn't dare accept it. I originally didn't want conflicts between students to affect the cooperation between our two families, but I haven't finished speaking. Xia Jianan hearing this broke into a cold sweat. As the only son of the Jiang family, if I wanted to use the group's power to make things difficult for the Xia family, it wouldn't be impossible. Sure enough, the next sentence confirmed what Xia Jianan feared, but I'm a person who likes to report every big and small matter to parents. I heard the Xia family's profits weren't high last quarter. The cooperation between our two families according to the signed document indeed can be terminated. Let's leave it for today, I said indifferently, leaning back in my chair, as if having a family chat with Xia Jianan. Xia Jianan knew my personality. Once I've spoken, there's almost no way to take it back, so he could only laugh it off. Yes. Then can young Master Jiang forgive my sister? Sayao. Sai's mind isn't well. I suggest she rest for a few days. Go to the hospital for a checkup. Though I said Sayao should rest, the perceptive people understood. I meant Xiao should take a break from school for a while. Yes. It'll definitely take her to the hospital for a checkup. Having said that, Xia Jianan pulled Xiaxiao. I coldly watched the backs of the Xia siblings, waving my hand behind me to call Qizhen. Old Qi, find an opportunity. Go slash Xia Jianan's car tires for me. Qizhen hearing this, his face full of reluctance. He knew each time I called him Old Qi meant nothing good. Su Wanru frantically grabbed my sleeve. You can't slash the tires. It's too dangerous. Old Qi, you don't need to go. Actually, you don't need to shield me. Don't think I'm like this. I'm not afraid of pain. Su Wanru's eyes kept looking at the burn on my hand. I showed surprise. This little girl obviously can't stand pain. Pampered from childhood to adulthood. How could I take her to school and let her come home with injuries? At that point, I feel my own wounds would not just be on my hand like this. I've said him the big brother. Su Wanru's congenital heart condition. I can't do anything about it, but everyday accidents, what can be avoided should be avoided. How could I let the words big brother lose their value? What's wrong? I'm your big brother. I should protect you well. Su Wanru looked at me with a carefree expression, pursed her lips, opened her school bag, skillfully took out a tube of ointment, forcefully pulled my hand over. I was stunned. I didn't expect you to have this in your bag. Why do you have this kind of medicine? Su Wanru applied the medicine to me herself, without raising her head. I have everything. My dad prepared it, in case of any situation. Well, okay. When we got home, the news of my hand injury didn't concern my mother at all. They only cared about another matter. What? At school you let Wanru get bullied. I knew I couldn't trust you. Watching my mother stamp her feet angrily in the living room, I felt like sitting in this chair right now was like being a death row prisoner facing execution. This is indeed my fault. I'll accept whatever scolding from Mom. I only have one request, to cut off relations with the Xia family. At this moment, my mother's phone rang. Interrupting her words, the screen displayed the caller. Old Xia. My mother looked contemptuous. Great. I haven't even found him to settle accounts. Is calling me first. This time fortunately Wanru wasn't hurt. If Wanru had been injured, I wouldn't just stop at this level. Mother stood waiting. The phone rang continuously. On the other side, old Xia in front of the phone was breaking into a cold sweat. Anxiously waiting. He was waiting for my mother to answer, hoping to obtain forgiveness through the phone, or at least have a chance to beg, waiting until the last second of the ring. Mother finally picked up. Hello, this is Mrs. Zhang. Old Xia's flattering voice sounded from the phone. Mother didn't say anything. Silently waiting, old Xia didn't hear a response. Suppressing his anxiety, he slowly continued. Mess. Zhang, this time it's our Xiao's fault, but this is just children's quarreling, and the little girl Su Wanru wasn't hurt, so could you be lenient? Forgive her this once. I guarantee I will immediately bring Xiao to the Jiang house to apologize. Would that be acceptable? My mother sneered. What do you think? Old Xia muttered to himself. What do I think? Of course I think it's fine. Su Wanru indeed wasn't hurt. Our son, Jiang Shen had his hand burned by your precious daughter. This is just withdrawing investment. If she really had injured Su Wanru, it wouldn't simply be withdrawing investment. I looked at my mother speechlessly, thinking to myself, mother really never cares unexpectedly like this. But if Su Wanru had been hurt, perhaps I would have taken a stick, gone directly to the Sia company, and incidentally called some thugs to slash all the Sia family's car tires. Being a good student in front of the little girl for too long, everyone really forgot my grudge-bearing nature. Old Xia on the other end was speechless, finally under the worried and expectant gaze of his wife. He probed, so you think this matter can't be negotiated? Mother immediately hung up the phone, clearly showing her attitude. The atmosphere at the Xia house was now very tense. Old Xia, under the disappointed gaze of his wife and son, put down the phone. There's no way out. Only one solution left. Xia Jianan took a sip of tea. Xiao! This is for everyone's benefit. Xia Xiao now had a dull gaze. Hearing this, she didn't react at all, as if accepting her fate, but her hands clenched tightly under the table, exuding hatred from inside out, not just towards Su Wanru, but also toward her father and brother, hating that none of them were good. They all deserved to die. Su Wanru, after comforting my worried parents, returned to her room. She opened the suitcase she brought, took out the best burn treatment ointment, held it tightly in her hand, walked to my door. The door wasn't locked. Su Wanru gently knocked twice. The door opened a small crack. There seemed to be no one in the room. Su Wanru peeked in, brother Jiang Shen, but pushing the door open, there was no one in the room. She thought for a moment, decided to leave the ointment on the desk, leave a note and go. At this moment, I had just finished showering in the private bathroom on the second floor. There was no other way. The study had no shower, so these days I had been showering here. I couldn't brazenly run to the little girl's room to shower. At that point, before Su Wanru could react, my mother would have fired her cannon. When I went to the study, I discovered my door was open. Before showering, I had instructed the housekeeper that this room didn't need cleaning recently. Who opened the door? The sudden voice startled Su Wanru. Dropping the pen in her hand, she looked up. The young man who had just showered, the steam on his body not yet dry, the short-sleeved t-shirt wet at the chest, vaguely revealing chest muscles. Following the muscle lines, her gaze slowly moved down to where the shirt covered. Su Wanru looked until her ears turned red. Since childhood, she had little contact with boys, let alone a boy who had just showered like this. I pushed the door open. Seeing Su Wanru in the room, I was stunned. Then looked at the ointment tube in her hand, slowly breaking into a smile. Look at that. Su Wanru, how the little girl cares about her brother. Unlike mom, who only told me to pour cold water on. My smile was radiant, at least brighter than the 500-watt light bulb on the ceiling. The redness of Su Wanru's ears spread to her cheeks. She quickly stepped forward, stuffed the ointment tube into my hand, leaving only one sentence. This is medicine. You must apply it carefully. Then hurriedly left the room. Su Wanru returned to her room. Breathing heavily, went to the bathroom to get some cool water, patting it on her face. In the mirror, the young girl's cheeks were rosy pink, glowing with spring charm. Su Wanru, what are you blushing for? She covered her eyes with her hands, slowly walked to the bed. Lay down. Heart pounding, so fast she thought she was about to get sick. Could this be a sign of an impending attack? She told herself, took out 2 pills, expertly swallowed them, whether it was psychological or not. Su Wanru felt better after taking the medicine. The redness on her face also gradually faded. It must be physical. Go to sleep. Su Wanru, tomorrow will be fine. At midnight, 12 o'clock, I posted a picture to the close friends chat group. The picture with caption, heard this medicine is very expensive. Are you kidding? You send us a message in the middle of the night. Just for this trivial matter, I ignored it, continuing to send messages. It must be really expensive, because after using it the effect is very good. My wound doesn't hurt at all. Su Wanru's stuff is really good quality. Qi Zhen was completely speechless. No way! Jiang Shen, look at your cheap behavior, waking us up at midnight, just to show off your medicine tube. Jiang Shen, you're done for. Ji Yang was very angry when he woke up. Yo! Sorry, sleep first then. Get lost. The next day, Su Wanru saw Qi Zhen and Ji Yang in class. Slightly stunned. Were you 2 thieves last night? Yesterday I woke them up, both lost sleep, lying in bed tossing and turning, just wanting to rush to my house to punch me a few times. Seeing the resentful looks of the two, I appeared unconcerned. Not being able to sleep has nothing to do with me. Last night after applying the medicine, I slept soundly, especially the fragrant smell of traditional Chinese medicine. Seems to help with sleep too. Little princess, the medicine you gave me yesterday works really well. Slept so soundly. Yo! Little princess. Qi Zhen and Ji Yang looked at each other with mischievous smiles. 3 big question marks appeared above Su Wanru's head. The ointment is for treating burns. It doesn't help with sleep. And why call me little princess? Su Wanru pointed at her face. With a bewildered expression, I nodded very naturally. Yes, you don't mind. Do you? Su Wanru lowered her head. Muttering, you've already called me that. How could I possibly mind? At this moment, on the school forum, someone wrote, heard that Xiao has asked for a leave of absence. Should King as beauty queen be re-elected? Need to vote. Unconditionally choose Su Wanru. And Roxy in our class isn't bad either. Why must we choose Su Wanru? That afternoon, students were buzzing with discussion because the school forum opened a new post about voting for the beauty queen. In boring student life, everyone likes to admire beauty. Hey, Pigsy, who are you voting for? A necessary question. Of course, Su Wanru. I'm voting for Zhang Sozu in class 10. Perfect figure, that 80 kilograms girl. Taste ask. How can innocence compete with seductiveness? On the forum, the votes for Su Wanru and Zhang Suosuo were neck and neck. In students' eyes, it was clearly a battle between two styles. Su Wanru knew nothing about this, but while she didn't know, I sitting beside her was always paying attention. The post was sent to me by Qi Zhen. I went on the school forum for the first time. After voting, casually shared it to the family group. Group name, Su Wanru Protection Base. This is voting for beauty queen for little Su Wanru. No need to say more. I understand. Already shared to the Sisters Association. Just posted in the company personnel group. I nodded with satisfaction, but felt it still wasn't enough, so I shared it again to the Class 8 group. In the King Beauty Queen voting activity, I voted for Su Wanru. Everyone join me, please. In just 1 hour, countless supporters of Su Wanru poured in, exceeding the second place by 3 times the votes. The voting ended at 7 p.m. the same day. Congratulations to Su Wanru for winning the Beauty Queen title. The Beauty Queen election only brought brief joy to the students. Now is a crucial time for grade 12. Small tests. Unit tests were common occurrences. Teacher Lee walked onto the podium with a smile, slowly placing the stack of test papers on the desk. When Su Wanru received her paper, her face wrinkled like an orange. She was certain, in her brain, there must be a math learning nerve missing. Otherwise, why couldn't she understand the questions? The test looked familiar to her. She wasn't familiar with the test. The little girl bit her pen, struggling to calculate, but looking to the side, I seemed to be taking a different test, writing as fast as flying, not even needing scratch paper. My posture, though lazy, my whole being exuded confidence. Su Wanru, somewhat admired intelligent people. At this moment, they really looked cool. After a math test, the little girl tiredly put her head down on the desk. But since it was a test, there wasn't just math. These 2 days, all the students of grade 12 at King were drowning in the suffering of exams. King had abundant teacher resources. Everyone worked hard in just one night, had finished grading all the students, and compiled the results. I was still at the top of the grade. The top 10 were almost all familiar names, but this time, the 7th position was a name never seen before. In the office of class 12-8, Su Wanru stood next to Teacher Lee, silent. Teacher Lee sat in his chair, pondering for a long time. The teacher really couldn't understand. The girl's other subjects were clearly excellent. Why only his math subject got 59 points? He didn't even want her just barely pass. Teacher Lee thought for a while. Probing. Miss Su, do you have any opinions about my teaching methods? Su Wanru looked down at her shoes, mumbling. Really no. Teacher, she didn't dare raise her head to look at Teacher Lee, also guessing how the teacher was suspicious of her, but she was truly naturally not good at math. Teacher Lee was heartbroken, placing Su Wanru's test papers from other subjects side by side. You even ranked second in the class in physics, not to mention English. Perfect score. Teacher Lee felt a bit dazzled, wanted to cry. Su Wanru could only smile awkwardly. Teacher, I really am not good at math. Yep. Teacher Lee, don't be so strict with little Su. Everyone has imperfections. The English teacher, who was always paying attention to the situation, spoke up to comfort her. From the first time I saw little Su, I felt close to her. On her first test, she got a perfect score. Usually her pronunciation is also very accurate. The more I look at her, the more I like her. Unlike that Jiang Shen kid, this time he just barely passed. Teacher Lee smirked, pretending to casually mention, Su Wanru, in the future you should study math with Jiang Shen. You two are desk mates. He got a perfect score, while you couldn't even pass. If there's anything you don't understand, ask him more. Don't be shy. The English teacher refused to be outdone. Su Wanru, in the future you should teach Jiang Shen English. With his level, if he goes abroad in the future, he'll be tricked and still help count the money for others. At this moment I had just walked into the office, coming to find Su Wanru to return to class, my head full of question marks. I didn't do anything to the English teacher this time. Did I pass this time? Jiang Shen, the math competition is about to begin. Take this form back to fill out and submit to me. Teacher Lee saw me and waved friendlily. Yo! The English competition is also about to begin. Little Su, take this form back and fill it out carefully. The English teacher enthusiastically stuffed the form into Su Wanru's hands. The other teachers in the office just watched as if watching a play, while Su Wanru and I held the forms. Looking bewildered, finally both of us spoke in unison. Yes, sir. Teachers, we'll all be going now. On the announcement board for the results of grade 12 at King, only the scores of the top 10 students were published. Oh my god. Who can control Jiang Shen? Is frantically showing off that Su Wanru ranked 7th. Little princess is really impressive. First test and already ranked 7th in the school. I was filled with intense pride. Sighing like an old father, Su Wanru pretended not to hear, head turned toward the window, putting it down, hiding her face tightly. It's nothing. Just a bit embarrassing. Qi Zhen and Ji Yang clapped emotionlessly. Well done. This is the 27th time Jiang Shen has mentioned it. That night when we got home, I brought all of Su Wanru's test papers back. Although the rankings were already known early, and the scores for each subject were clear, I thought bringing the test papers for parents to see would make them happier. Sure enough, parents were very happy. Yep, Wanru is so good, first test and already doing so well, much better than our own Jiang Shen. Mother smiled until she couldn't close her mouth. Father sat across from Su Wanru, also extremely satisfied. Indeed, our family needs a little daughter, while that torn-clothes son of ours, his exams have never made father this happy. I sat beside them, my face full of helplessness. During dinner, I picked crab meat, placed it in front of Su Wanru. Your health is weak, crab is cooling, so eat just a little. Yep. Wanru did so well on the tests. What reward would you like? Su Wanru put down her chopsticks that were picking up crab meat, her eyes blinking. Is this a thing? Seeing Su Wanru's naive face, I burst out laughing. In elementary school, my mother used to reward me like this too, but later mom stopped rewarding me. If you want something, just say it directly. Mother refuted. You dare to say that? You always ranked first. Should I reward you every time? Besides, have you looked at how expensive the things you wanted were before age 10? Boys usually only want toy cars, but mom still remembers what you said when you were young. Mom, I want to turn your flower garden into a laboratory. The garden in front of the door, that mom took great care of. Mom didn't agree. Afterward, I quietly, secretly uprooted several of mom's newly planted precious orchids. When evening came, mom cried telling dad, then dad loved his wife so much, without saying a word, dragged me out for a beating. I quietly picked up a piece of food. I only uprooted mom's flowers once, and I didn't ask for it again after that. You beat me and still remember it for so long. Su Wanru, sitting nearby listening, burst out laughing. I leaned over. How is it fun to hear about me losing faith? Su Wanru hurriedly shook her head. No, I just think you were very mischievous when young. Boys really are, not as reassuring as girls. Wanru, you haven't said what you want. Su Wanru looked at my mother's expectant eyes, then looked at my father. I want to see snow, want to touch snow with my own hands. Feel what it's like. Having said that, she looked at me. Su Wanru lowered her eyes, her voice full of hope. When I was little, before moving, every time it snowed, I was in the hospital. When I was discharged, outside it was already spring. After moving, my family went to the south, lived peacefully for over 10 years. 4 seasons like spring, never saw snow. Perhaps it's just a childhood fixation. But I think very simply, when my illness is cured, I want to be in the capital, to see the first snow of winter. I want to see a big snowfall, the first snow in the capital. Su Wanru firmly repeated. When the little girl talked about snow, her eyes full of longing, beautiful eyes sparkling with light. Somehow, my heart suddenly tightened. I reached out and gently stroked Su Wanru's head. My voice gentler, the first snow of this winter. I will watch it with you. In response was Su Wanru's radiant smile. I think sometimes life is really unfair. Why does such a good girl have to endure such a difficult-to-cure disease? Actually, it's not impossible now. Seeing my mother deep in thought, my father immediately understood his wife's intention, took out his phone about to call. I will tell the secretary right away to buy a snow-making machine. No need. No need. Uncle, really no need. I want to see natural snow falling from the sky. There's still plenty of time. I will see it eventually. Faced with Su Wanru's determination, my father put his phone away, but in his mind had already calculated how to have snow in the middle of summer. Time passed quickly. The national competition had selected its contestants. Tomorrow they would take a bus together to the competition venue. The weather was also gradually getting colder. My mother, when packing luggage for Su Wanru, specially stuffed in many jackets. The little girl blushed sitting on the sofa, watching my busy mother. Auntie Su, I can really pack for myself. That won't do if you don't bring enough clothes and get sick. What then? Let Auntie take care of it. Finally, my mother prepared 2 large suitcases and handed them to me. Brat, carry the suitcases. I obediently took them, almost thinking I was carrying 2 rocks. I looked at my mother suspiciously. Did mom put rocks in here? The result was being slapped on the hand by Miss. Their clothes. Both yours and little Wanru's are in there. Su Wanru and I arrived at school. At the gathering point, Su Wanru only wore a water bottle with a straw and carried a small bag of medicine. She hesitated and stopped, about to take one suitcase from my hand. How about I carry one? No need. But you see, I don't look too good. Not good. Men never say they're not good. To prove how good I was, I walked like flying, even before getting on the bus, deliberately raised my arm, showing off the muscles in my arm, in front of Su Wanru. Seeing Su Wanru blankly looking at me, I gritted my teeth and left a sentence. I'm very good. Su Wanru stood stunned in front of the bus. Why do boys suddenly change their expressions so quickly? How strange. When the bus was driving on the highway, Su Wanru, who had been looking at the scenery outside the window, gradually became sleepy. Yawning hugely, I saw her yawning appearance. Laughed. What a cute yawn. Take a nap. We still have a way to go. I even moved a little closer to her, shrugging my shoulders, suggesting she could lean on my shoulder. But the little girl nodded, then leaned her head against the window, silently closed her eyes. Seeing this, I had a head full of question marks. The highway was moving, trees retreating rapidly behind, and Suwonru's head knocking against the glass, making a knock-knock-knock sound. I maintained an expressionless face, watching Suwonru sound asleep, thinking to myself, this girl's health is weak. Right? People with heart disease normally can't even run, really are weak indeed, but if we say not weak then, her head hitting the glass so loudly and not waking up, indeed not weak at all, sleep quality not weak at all. I looked at Suwonru for a long time, wondering if it was my brotherly instinct, wanting to protect Suwonru, or something else. Finally, I sighed, took off my baseball cap, gently placed it on Suwonru's head. The brim of the hat shielded the sunlight very well. I gently leaned over, one hand grabbing Suwonru's shoulder, the other hand quietly placed on the window glass. The next second, when the little girl's head hit, the window glass no longer made a knock-knock-knock sound, but each impact felt like it hit my heart. I clearly heard my heart beating, in rhythm with Suwonru's head touching my hand. Suwonru was sound asleep, unconsciously rubbing against my palm. I instinctively withdrew my hand, using my shoulder to support her, whether because Suwonru felt warmth or a sense of security. She unconsciously grabbed my hand, placed it on the armrest between the two seats, then buried her face in my chest. Feeling the little girl's sudden closeness, I pursed my lips, adjusted my position so Suwonru could sleep more comfortably. Slowly, placed my chin, gently resting it on Suwonru's forehead, closed my eyes. The posture of the two people, in the eyes of others, looked like they were hugging while sleeping. Mayamio in the seat behind felt bored, immediately rummaged through her bag, took out a strawberry-flavored lollipop, stood up. Suwonru. I brought lollipops. Mayamio was stunned, perhaps because of her sudden voice. She clearly saw Suwonru move slightly, then me sitting beside frowning, gently stroking to comfort her, neither of us opening our eyes. The unexpected image made Mayamio clearly become excited. She secretly raised her phone. Click. A sound. Took a picture. Although she only captured the tops of our heads, Mayamio felt these two round heads were enough to create an atmosphere. Extremely sweet. Unexpectedly the next second, she received a message from me. Send me the picture. Mayamio, full of question marks, when she saw this message, almost dropped her phone. What's this? Picture. I heard the sound of your phone taking a picture. Sound not turned off. Well done. I only took one. I swear I deleted it. Mayamio in the back seat was so annoyed she waved her hand in the air. What's wrong with keeping one picture? Just because you're the only son of the Jiang family doesn't mean I have to listen to you. Fine. Deleted. The journey still had some way to go. When Suwonru woke up, there were only about 10 minutes left. She moved her hands slightly. Why does it feel like I'm holding something? She moved her head, consciousness gradually returning. Suwonru could sense her head, seemed to be poking into something, and by her ear was the sound of breathing. She secretly opened one eye. Looking down, her hand was tightly holding one of my fingers. Looking up, half her face was buried in the hollow of my neck. From this angle she inadvertently saw my chest muscles hidden under my shirt, and abdominal muscles clearly defined. Oh my god. What am I doing? Suwonru. Are you a lust-filled wolf? She secretly pulled herself away. I actually wasn't in a deep sleep either. As soon as Suwonru woke up, I knew, just deliberately wanted to tease her, see her reaction. Teasing the little girl like this? I really am thick-skinned, but seeing Suwonru's actions, I found it interesting. Deliberately waited a few minutes before pretending to wake up, glancing at Suwonru. Laughing silently, she's curled up like a ball. I suppressed the corners of my mouth from curling up. I raised my hand to rub my shoulder. Frowning, with a hoarse voice, why does my shoulder feel a bit sore? Suwonru secretly glanced over, her earlobes silently turning red, secretly muttering to herself. That's right, it's because I was leaning on it, but I won't tell you. Did you drool while sleeping? I said, then grabbed my collar, bring it to my nose to smell lightly. Stop it, I didn't drool. Sure enough. After hearing this, Suwonru's eyes wavered, her eyelashes trembling violently. So silly. I can tell right away. After teasing Suwonru a bit, I felt in a very good mood, squinting and leaning back, just as the bus slowly came to a stop. Teacher Lee, sitting in the front row, stood up holding a list. Students, we have arrived. Everyone, take your luggage and personal belongings. We will go to the hotel to check in first. Everyone is tired today. Rest first afterward. Tomorrow morning, we will officially begin reviewing for the competition. Please be ready. I stood up, went to where the backpacks were stored on the bus, reached out to grab my backpack. Suwonru still sat in her seat, but as I reached up, my shirt was pulled up a little. From her angle, she could see my firm abdominal muscles and the muscle lines extending down, disappearing into the back of my pants, looking as if she really wanted to touch them. The flush that had just faded from her face rose again, this time spreading to both cheeks. Suwonru. Calm down. I finished getting my backpack, about to call Suwonru to stand up, but what caught my eye was the little girl lowering her head, face flushed red, seemingly embarrassed and not daring to look at me. I looked down at myself, raising an eyebrow. So you saw my abs. I pretended not to know anything, but the corner of my mouth broke into a smile. Little princess. Let's go. Suwonru avoided my gaze. Stood up, trying to appear calm. Yeah. Let's go. I slung my backpack over my shoulder, walking behind Su Wanru. Little girl, you're good at pretending. When everyone entered the hotel, they were informed the rooms had been booked by VIP guests. While everyone was confused, suddenly several people in suits appeared. The leader seemed to be looking for someone. Miss. Hello? Xing Chun's respectful voice sounded from behind. Miss, may I ask if all guests are here? Su Wanru nodded. Yes. Uncle Zhang. We still have a few teachers who might arrive tonight or tomorrow morning. The surrounding students were shocked with wide eyes. Did we just make friends with a rich person? Sister Su Wanru, I love you. Manhwa, from now on, you are my goddess. Su Wanru received a flood of compliments, a bit nervously grabbing the corner of my shirt. No, I just texted Uncle Zhang. Teacher Li was bewildered, secretly moving close to Su Wanru. How many days did you book the room for? I'm afraid I didn't bring enough money to stay at this high-end hotel. No need for money. This hotel belongs to my family. Although Teacher Li spoke as softly as a breath, I and Xing Chun standing nearby heard it clearly. I put my arm around Teacher Li's shoulder. It's okay. Teacher Li, the Lei Dun Hotel is Su Wanru's family side business. That's right. Lei Dun always keeps more than a dozen rooms for the young miss. In case they are needed, Xing Chun raised his hand to adjust his glasses, looking at the young man standing next to the young miss. Must be the only son of the Jiang family. Shenji, but Xing Chun felt he needed to report this matter to Miss. The young miss was innocent and pure, while this young man, one look and you could tell he was very good at deceiving people, using his face to deceive, although I'm just a hotel manager. After all, I am an elder who has watched Su Wanru grow up, cannot let the young miss be deceived by this boy. I didn't see Zhang Chun's gaze, but somehow felt a chill down my back. Could someone be cursing me? When everyone boarded the bus to Lei Dun Hotel, Teacher Li looked around while asking, Su, is it really not going to cost money? Su Wanru turned her head, answering Teacher Li for the 7th time. Really no need. Lei Dun is my mother's side business, and this hotel belongs to me. Teacher Li took a deep breath, his fingers trembling. Belongs to you. Xing Chun looked through the rearview mirror, smiling. Yes, this hotel when the young miss was 15 years old was given as a gift by the owner. The hotel's revenue is all transferred to the young miss account. You could say, the young miss is our boss. After answering Teacher Li's question, Xing Chun coldly glanced at me. This boy really wants to deceive our young miss. At the hotel, Xing Chun arranged the rooms, putting everyone on the same floor, but my room was at the far left, Su Wanru's room at the far right. He wanted to prevent any possibility of me deceiving the young miss. I pulled 2 suitcases to Su Wanru's door. I feel like Manager Zhang is being cautious of me, but have no evidence. For instance, when I stroked little princess' head, Xing Chun immediately stepped forward to push me away. I gave little princess a cup of water. Xing Chun immediately brought a cup of flower tea. Hey, what's going on? Su Wanru had just opened her door, hearing me sigh, bewilderedly asked, is everything okay? I shook my head. Put the suitcases in Su Wanru's room. If you need anything, find me. Text me. After placing the suitcases, I bent down and looked directly at Su Wanru. One hand placed on her head, gently stroking. I'm going now? Yes. The little girl blinked her clear eyes. Looking at her, I felt I was really worthless. As I turned to leave, my hanging hand was grabbed by someone. Su Wanru's hand was very small. She pulled my hand. Wait. Su Wanru took out 2 lemon candies from her pocket, placed them in my palm. I bought these at the store myself. The owner said these are lucky candies. Jiang Shen, I'm giving them to you. Hope everything goes well for you. Su Wanru's face broke into a smile. Her eyes curved like a crescent moon. For the first time, I saw how upturned her eyelashes were, and her lips looked delicate, like they wanted to be kissed. Bastard. I bit my tongue hard, reached out to take the 2 candies, my face still maintaining a gentle expression. Thank you, little princess. I'm going now. Waving as I left Su Wanru's room, I smiled until the corners of my mouth cracked. Must take it slow, and Su Wanru stood in place, dazedly looking at her pinky finger. Did he just hook my finger? The next morning, in the hotel meeting room, Teacher Li coughed twice. Students, in 3 more days is the official competition. The competition schedule is very tight, so these few days are our last chance to review. Teacher Li, while distributing the test papers, gently dropped a bombshell. According to reliable sources, students who win gold medals in this national competition may be given special admission to Jing University. The previously quiet students immediately buzzed with excitement. Oh my god, that's Jing University. It can be said, it's every student's dream school. Teacher Li, why didn't you tell us earlier? Only Su Wanru sat there naively. She had never gone to school before, didn't know the attraction of Jing University to students, but from her classmates' reactions, she guessed it must be a top school. It's currently the top school in the country. I leaned close to Su Wanru's ear, whispering, so little princess, you have to try hard too. Okay, open your mouth. Su Wanru instinctively opened her mouth. Following the sound of candy wrapper being torn, a lemon candy was popped into her mouth. You gave it to me yesterday. Looking at Su Wanru's small tongue, my gaze gradually darkened. I turned my face away, deliberately messing up her bangs. Lucky candy. I'll give you one today. Later on the small test get a perfect score? Okay. Su Wanru frowned, reaching up to smooth her messed up hair. slightly pouting, mumbling, "You're so childish," messing up my hair. I smiled slightly, turning back to look at the test that was just handed out. My fingers seemed to still retain the feeling of Su Wanru's lips, the flavor lingering on my hand. She is innocent and knows nothing, while my heart surges. Increasingly moved, I feel like a pervert. All right. The test papers have all been distributed. The time for everyone is the same. Those who finish early can submit to the teachers for grading. Begin. The entire meeting room immediately fell silent, with only the sound of pencils scratching. Math wasn't difficult for me. I even submitted early. English wasn't difficult for Su Wanru either. This test quickly ended. Everyone's test papers were collected by the teachers, while other classmates discussed the wrong answers. Su Wanru and I sat in our seats, faces unchanging, steady as Mount Tae. Su Wanru found the previous test quite simple. While I was confident in my intelligence, I rested my chin on my hand, looking over at Su Wanru. "Little princess, how was the test?" Su Wanru thought for a moment. "Probably no mistakes." "Clever." I probably did the same. The two chatted as if making small talk. "Eaten yet?" "Already have." "What did you eat?" "Rice." Kang Cheng took his test paper from the English teacher, looking at his score of 130. Pondering deeply, then looking at Su Wanru's paper that the teacher asked him to return, with 150 written on it. If this isn't a perfect score, what is? On the other side, Lu Miao was still suffering from the biology test she had just taken, when unexpectedly in front of her was placed a test paper full of check marks. Oh my goodness, perfect score, but that paper was all in English. Lu Miao bewilderedly raised her head. "Su, this is the paper the teacher asked me to give you. You're really good." Kang Cheng, standing next to Lu Miao, with an expression of integrity, seriously said, "I really admire Su Wanru getting a perfect score on this test." "Thank you." Kang Cheng pushed up his glasses. "No problem. You really are very good. Could you teach me how to do this question?" Lu Miao was indignant. "You're really too much. If you don't know someone, that's fine. Now you even want me to explain the question to you." She glanced at Su Wanru. Su Wanru didn't notice the pitiful gaze of her tablemate in front. "Still playing you draw, I guess, with me. Annoying boys. Ruining important things. Can't stand it anymore. Really can't hold back any longer." Lu Miao stood up abruptly, pulling Kang Cheng quickly to Su Wanru's side, fiercely saying, "I'm not Su Wanru." Then turning to Su Wanru, her face full of motherly love. "This is her." Kang Cheng squinted his eyes as he moved closer to Su Wanru, so quickly that she didn't have time to react, but my sharp eyes and quick hands. One hand reached out to wrap around the little girl's waist, my other hand placed on Kang Cheng's shoulder, pulling him into my arms. "What are you doing?" My voice wasn't friendly at all. Su Wanru sensed I was a bit panicked, mixed with some unexplained anger. Kang Cheng, frightened by me, repeatedly waved his hands. "No, no, I just wanted to confirm what Su Wanru looks like." Su Wanru in my arms, after reacting, tried to break free, but no matter how she moved, my arm was like iron. Not budging, she helplessly whispered in my arms, "Let me go first." I frowned tightly. After confirming he just wanted to see little princess face, I loosened my grip, but my voice was still very unpleasant. "Are you face blind?" Kang Cheng nodded sincerely. "Yes, so I want to remember Su Wanru's face, to make it easier to ask questions later." I was stunned. I had just casually asked. Didn't expect he really was face blind. Then remember my face. I'm always with little princess. Su Wanru did understand why. She let Kang Cheng roundaboutly recognize me first, before speaking to him, but she found me a bit cute like this. While Kang Cheng approached me, she inadvertently laughed beside me. What was that saying? Sincerity is always the ultimate move. She even began to imagine me lying in bed before sleep at night, recalling this scene, fiercely asking the other person if they were face blind. As a result, Kang Cheng frankly nodded. "Yes, I am face blind." This scene was a bit funny. Su Wanru was immersed in her imagination, not realizing Kang Cheng had already taken his test paper, returned to his seat. At this moment, I squinted my eyes as I moved closer to her. The next second, I used my hand to pinch her face, gently pulling both sides, the movement light, not strong. "What are you laughing at?" I suddenly leaned close to Su Wanru's face. "No, nothing. Brother Jiang Shen." Su Wanru stammered as I pinched her, but her strong survival instinct at this moment only knew to soften her voice. When the little girl spoke softly, calling me brother, I admit I was moved again. So being moved is this easy? Just the little girl casually calling me brother. I cursed myself internally. "Jiang Shen, you really are cheap." "But what's wrong with being cheap? I just need little princess to like me too." So I smiled with narrowed eyes, releasing my hand, switching to tickling Su Wanru's waist, sensitive spot, to get her used to my breath. This is very important. At this moment, the teacher in charge of the English test stood in front of the small blackboard, looking at the test papers, then at the students, silent for a while, couldn't help but speak up. "Jiang Shen, what are you doing here? You're not an English test contestant." I sat properly beside Su Wanru, showing myself to be very eager to learn. "Teacher, I came to study English." The English teacher was full of question marks. "If you had a bit of enthusiasm for learning English like now, then you would have long passed the English test. Too bad iron can't be forged into steel. The test explanation session was still very smooth. It's just that during the class, students kept looking at me, seeing me constantly trying to please Suwanru. Little princess, want some water? Little princess, are you hungry? I brought snacks. Is the air conditioning cold? Do you need my jacket? At this moment, on the school forum, asking quietly, during the competition, how are the beauty queen and the handsome guy doing? In subjects where I rank first, one word can't express it all. Please lower your voice a bit. Curie, one word can't express it all. Given special admission to my home, one word can't express it all. Students in the school looking at the screen full of one word can't express it all. Fell into deep thought. Did they reach a sweet ending or just graduate? The school gossip quickly changed direction, from hoping in the morning that the beauty queen and handsome guy would be together forever, to hope the beauty queen and handsome guy don't become enemies. When I received concerned messages from Qi Zhen and Ji Yang, I thought something had happened. Hey, Jiang Shen, be careful. It's okay. In 18 years you'll be a fine man again. I suspiciously sent a question mark. Jiang Shen, stop pretending. Everyone knows. You and my former sister-in-law must have broken up. Damn it. He'll come back and beat you two to death. Believe it or not, Qi Zhen and Ji Yang were scolded to bewilderment. It's been a long time since I swore. The last time was also the last time. Little princess and I are still great. Accompanied by a photo. In the photo was Suwanru lowering her head to drink water, and the hand holding the water cup clearly was mine. Which idiot said little princess and I broke up. Quickly pack up and go home to hide. At this moment, in the rooftop restaurant of Lei Dun, I looked at Suwanru in frustration. The little girl was eating pasta, slurping it into her mouth bit by bit, eating like a little hamster, feeling someone's gaze staring at her. Suwanru raised her head, pasta eating motion not stopping, but her face turning toward me, head tilted to one side, her eyes as big as grapes, sparkling with water. No way! She's controlling her eyelashes, blinking repeatedly. How can she be so cute? I took a tissue, leaning slightly towards Suwanru. Nothing. Are you full? I asked this, but my hand didn't stop, reached out to hold Suwanru's face, gently wiping her eyelashes. Her eyelashes blinked quickly like a fan, showing her uneasy mood. What's wrong with this person? But I clearly felt this wasn't enough. My gaze looking at Suwanru's lips became deeper. I threw the tissue aside, used my thumb to lightly touch her lips, with a concentrated expression. Full yet, my voice no longer clear as usual, carrying a slight hoarseness. Suwanru stuttered in response. Full. Already full. She reached out trying to push away, resulting in her hand resting on my chest, not being resisted. She panicked, facing my eyes full of smiling intention. She was about to withdraw her hand when it was grabbed tightly by my other hand. I held Suwanru with one hand, from her delicate wrist, feeling her tense pulse, the other hand slowly moving, my thumb sliding across her lower lip, as if really wiping the corner of her mouth. I leaned close to Suwanru, so close she could smell the fresh mint scent from me after showering. Suwanru's heart beat faster. She felt I had been different toward her these days, but didn't know exactly what was different. Touching Suwanru, the pulse from her wrist transmitted, showing her emotions. Unstable, tense but not rejecting. I lowered my eyes, carefully feeling. Everything about Suwanru now had a deadly attraction for me. I was now like an activated magnet, trying to move closer to the other side, trying to activate her, wanting her to be like me. But I wanted to take it slow, so I released the hand holding her. I picked up the glass, drinking 2 or 3 gulps, as if wanting to submerge my emotions in calmness. On the other side, Suwanru was suddenly held tightly by me then released. The little girl hadn't had time to react. I had already finished 2 glasses of water, wiping my mouth with the back of my hand, then turned to ask her, "Want to go back to the room?" All the uneasiness just now seemed like an illusion. Suwanru looked at me bewilderedly. In her mind only one thought. Does he have a mental illness? Back in the room, I just realized what I had done with Suwanru. Standing in front of the mirror in the room, I pulled my collar open, the skin gradually showing a redness, spreading from the neck to the ear, body temperature slowly rising. I looked at myself in the mirror, fortunately just now in front of the little girl. I didn't turn this red. Although I've been popular with girls since childhood, this level of intimate contact was a first. The breath from Suwanru's lower lip still lingered on my finger. As if possessed, I raised my hand, placed the thumb that had touched Suwanru, gently pressed against my own lower lip, rubbing back and forth, as if through my finger feeling her warmth. My breathing started to quicken. In my mind was all images of Suwanru's beauty, and her hand resting on my chest, delicate as if boneless, small and exquisite. I sat down on the floor, my long legs folded up, as if wanting to hide something, then looked up at the ceiling, empty my mind. A while later, I finally stood up and went to the bathroom. The glass in the bathroom met hot steam, becoming misty, as if separating all space and time. But from inside, intermittent soft moans echoed out. Everyone at the hotel was extremely comfortable. But the competition day was getting closer. Suwanru in her room took out the notebook she brought. After this competition, she needed to go to Capital's No.1 hospital to see Professor Tang. Recently, she felt there was something wrong with her heart, especially these past few days, sometimes beating very irregularly. but not feeling uncomfortable. After reporting a few trivial matters to Mother Sue, Suwonru lay on the bed, looking at the candies I brought placed at the head of the bed. Recalling what I said today, she said this is her lucky candy, hoping I have everything go well. Little princess. Good night. Do well tomorrow. Her heart pounded. Suwonru placed her hand on her chest. Feeling this abnormality appearing again, thoughts at night became increasingly scattered. Finally unable to resist, she sat up, turned on the bedside lamp, opened her phone to search. A person with heart disease. Why has their heart been beating abnormally these days? Soon, the phone displayed an answer. The illness might be getting worse. About to die. Thank you, kind friend. Gonna sleep now. The competition day quickly arrived. That morning, Teacher Lee was in an excited state, wearing a red shirt, with victory written on the front, certain win embroidered on the back. On the way to the competition venue, the teacher was passionate. Students, today is our competition day. Don't be too tense. Try to recreate yesterday's glory. Students, come on, because I was competing in many subjects. I entered the exam room before Suwonru, but left after her, so I was very worried, instructing Suwonru. Little princess, I'm gonna take the test first. You find the exam room yourself. Okay, after the test, follow Teacher Lai back to the hotel. Don't worry about me. I brought water and snacks for you. Temporarily left with Lumayamia. If you're hungry, take them. Suwonru really couldn't stand it, raising her hand to make a stop sign, pushing me forward. I know. Now you're nagging more than Auntie Sue. The student competition quickly ended. King students finished their exams, all returned to the hotel as a group. Only I was like doing a show, finishing one subject then going to another, as if sweeping every corner of the exam rooms, probably because my appearance was too eye-catching. So, the first rumor in this competition was, heard there's a handsome guy who, because of a breakup, is taking a bunch of subjects. Handsome guy I'll accept, but breakup absolutely not. Laughable. Little princess and I are about to enter the budding stage of love, although currently it's just my one-sided budding. Suwonru finished her exams, feeling the burden lifted, her spirit immediately relaxed, lying on the bed becoming a dreamy paradise. The sky outside the window gradually darkened, but the door was knocked loudly. Suwonru sat up, not fully awake. Eyes bleary, barefoot gonna open the door. The door opened. I tiredly leaned against the doorframe, raising my hand to rub between my eyebrows. Voice wary. I am so tired. Then go rest quickly. Urge to go rest. I still stood still, my eyes looking straight at Suwonru. And I recharge. Suwonru hesitated slightly. This probably won't work. The little girl clearly didn't understand my intention. I pulled Suwonru's hand, hugging her into my arms, very naturally burying my face in the hollow of her neck, like a big dog wet from rain. Urgently seeking comfort and warmth, Suwonru was suddenly hugged by me. Forgot to push me away. When she reacted, she placed her hands on my shoulders, hearing my deep voice from the hollow of her neck. Let me hug you for a while. Little princess. Perhaps even I didn't realize. This sentence carried a hint of a spoiled tone. Suwonru let me hug her. Her hand originally placed on my shoulder slowly moved up. She wasn't clear why she didn't push me away immediately. Was it not having time to react? Or not wanting to? Was it too much trust? Or expectation? The thoughts were too complicated. Suwonru automatically skipped over them. But now, she felt she could do one thing. My nose touched her collarbone, the scent of jasmine enveloping. The next second, I felt her hand placed on my head. Gently stroking, Suwonru's fingers ran through my short hair, not all prickly. She was like petting a big dog, gently stroking my head back and forth, as if able to dispel all my fatigue. My breath exhaled hotly. My hand on Suwonru's waist gradually tightened. Cannot continue like this, I strongly reminded myself. Today's hug came too suddenly. Originally thought I would be pushed away by Suwonru, but she didn't do that. Instead stroked my head like a lover. I released both hands. Standing upright. Recharged. Thank you. Little princess. Seeing Suwonru standing barefoot on the floor, I didn't hesitate, immediately bending down to pick her up. Why aren't you wearing slippers? Suwonru was startled by my sudden action, immediately wrapped her arms around my neck. I gently placed the little girl on the bed, carefully covering her with the blanket, then forced myself to turn and leave. Just as I reached the door, I suddenly stopped, turned back, suddenly placed a clumsy kiss on Suwonru's forehead, accompanied by my hoarse voice. This is a thank you gift for little princess recharging me. I walked out of Suwonru's room, heart full of agitation, a smile uncontrollably spreading on my lips.